families, the tribes, everything. And that's what we were really successful at, was just trying to get as many people to talk to us as possible, so we would get all different people's view on a lot of subject matter, and we could kind of construct what our point of view was going to be and how we would affect change.
Was there like a database or a spreadsheet or something you had to set up, tying all these different families together? Because I assume, I've been told the Arabic names are a bit complicated, but once you understand how the Arabic names work,
right,
you can figure out their tribal...
yeah, it gets pretty simple. I mean, it's basically their name, their second name is always their father's name, and then their third name is their grandfather's name. So you can start to establish those family ties pretty quickly. Basically what we did was just, you know, graphs showing like family trees. We literally made family trees with pictures of individuals, their names, who they are, and then from there the branches of how they're related. We did it for the police, the Iraqi police side of the house. We did it for the different sheikh families. We did it for the tribes and the sub-tribes.
Okay, and that worked out fairly successfully, or?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess you're turning it over to 2-8 when...
Yes, and what that does is it really helps facilitate cross-boundary talk for the Marines. I might say, you know, I spoke with Sheikh so-and-so, and Lieutenant Falk or Lieutenant Mahika is going to come from their AO. Well, they're dealing with his brother on a different matter, and for whatever reason the situation is, like, maybe we draw a link of why he's talking to me and why his brother's talking to him. Maybe they're after something, or maybe there's a goal that they're trying to get to, and we can just kind of like see the entire scope of things that are happening around us. So it really, everybody understanding those ties, like Lieutenant Falk can tell you all about the Alwani tribes. He's got very few Alwanis in his AO, but his surrounding AOs have them. So if I go like when an Alwani Sheikh shows up, he knows who he is. And that's because we've done so well at cross-boundary talk and the entire company understanding those, like I said, those basically family tree diagrams that we've created.
Okay, do you have any examples you could perhaps give us of, perhaps, like you said, there was two brothers working in different AO areas and who were trying to get us something? Do you have an example?
Well, I mean, just basically like for example, the IP stations. When we came into zone, 2 of the IP chiefs were brothers. 5 of them are cousins. They all belong to the same sub-tribe. Now that's kind of changed up a bit. There's a little bit more tribal diversification, but it was important for us to know those links, because obviously what we found out from that was obviously they're going to communicate to each other. So if something happens at one station, within minutes, like say for instance, Lieutenant Mahika hands out new flak jackets to the IPs. Within 15 minutes, I can guarantee I'm getting a call to my station chief from their station chief saying, hey, Marines just gave us new flak jackets. The next thing I can expect is him coming to me saying, where's our flak jackets?
Oh, okay.
So like understanding like that communication exists and those relationships exist was very, very important this deployment.
Okay. And this was taking place during the first few months of the deployment?
Yes.
After that time, what was kind of the next pivotal step in the deployment?
I would say as we started to get the infrastructure and the economy and the people back on their feet, the next pivotal step was starting to align the city services. By city services, I'm talking municipalities and representative government. Our next focus of effort was getting the district councils established. District councils would bring in every AO has an individual representative. They now have weekly meetings just to talk about the different areas. The district council kind of helps the Marines guide like what is most important, what needs are most important to the people, and what areas are most heavily affected by things. Second is the city municipalities, linking up with what they call the DGs. They have a DG of sewer, DG of water. I'm not sure, I think district governor or something of that nature. Okay. Basically, it's just like a city supervisor for a specific municipality. What we did was we finally started getting a hold of these guys, trying to find out what we needed to help them facilitate them getting back to work. So we got the city trash started to go. The city electricians started to work. We started to get power grid up across the AO. People who were living 10 months with no power were starting to get 12, 15 hours of power a day. Trash work, the water pipes, you know, the city workers were coming out and fixing the water pipes, things like that. We were starting to get a better understanding of, like, for instance, sewer systems, how the sewer pump stations work exactly, where there are no sewer pipes, where there were sewer pipes. And by bringing those people out, we just got a better and better understanding of the infrastructure. And then also, instead of just literally Marines doing all the work, we're starting to kind of step back into the background and help the city help itself.
Okay. I don't know, what was the most challenging aspect? Was it actually getting the people together and able to talk to each other, or actually, you know, what I understand is in the Arab culture, a lot of times they just kind of fatalistic, you know, it's inshallah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's the will of God.
Sometimes.
Was it difficult overcoming that, or is that still something you struggle with?
No, yeah, it's something we still struggle with to this day. You know, I'll walk by empty dumpsters, and 20 meters away there'll be a pile of garbage, and in my American mindset can't wrap my head around it. Why? Like, why is it so hard to put trash in a dumpster? I don't know the answer at this point. You know, 7 months I've been here, I still haven't found the answer to that question. The hardest thing was locating these people, getting in contact with them, getting them to come and make them understand that the Marines are here to cooperate with them, and then also trying to understand the way the government system. Like I said, like, you know, nepotism is in the government, just like in the American government. There's some nepotism. You have to deal with corruption. You have to deal with all the things that go along with any government in the world, and you just have to work past those things to try and get the goals accomplished for the people.
The municipality, actually getting them to do work, was that difficult to actually get them to do their assignments?
It was at first, mainly for the reason they did not have the resources or the infrastructure to support themselves.
Okay, so they had...
For instance, like, city workers were not getting paid, so it was hard to get them to come out and do their job if they weren't getting a paycheck.
Okay.
You know?
So the same problems with the Iraqi police not being paid, the same thing was taking place with city workers.
Absolutely.
And this was...
What do you need?